the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in.
Straight out of a sci-fi movie, this spherical security robot is redefining public safety in Wenzhou's bustling streets. Rolling seamlessly across land and water, this futuristic bot boasts cameras, LiDAR, and flashing lights that make it unmissable. It's not just a looker, it's fast too. With a maximum speed of 22 miles per hour, it accelerates from 0 to top speed in just 2 seconds, perfect for rapid response in high-pressure scenarios. What sets it apart? Its ability to patrol hard-to-reach corners where traditional equipment fails. Equipped with GPS, it collects and transmits coordinates in real time, ensuring no spot goes unmonitored. It's designed to withstand close-range hits without losing functionality, enhancing public safety officers' handling capabilities during confrontations. The bot comes armed with a net gun to entangle targets from a distance, making it both proactive and non-lethal. Its near L4 level unmanned driving enables autonomous patrolling along preset routes, avoiding obstacles with ease. Plus, with customizable sensors and devices, it adapts to a variety of missions and terrains effortlessly. From tracking to combat, this spherical robot is paving the way for a high-tech approach to public security. What futuristic innovations could we see next?
RoboCop version 1, but I could see it definitely come in handy if somebody had a weapon. Practice makes perfect. When the zombie apocalypse comes, he's going to be a beast. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button because we do these every single day, and I'd love to see you around.
I think the firmament, pi, and Nikola Tesla's 369 theory are all connected. This video might blow your mind. So I started looking at pi, and you're basically just measuring a circle. I stared at this image for a couple minutes, and then the Bible verse popped into my head about looking over the circle of the earth. The more I looked into what pi is actually used for, I found out that you can't create a dome or an arch in architecture without pi. So then I started to think, are they measuring the firmament with pi? And then I kept thinking about Nikola Tesla's 369 for some reason. I started plugging different numbers into pi. So I had ChatGPT run 3.3 repeating to find the circumference instead of the 3.14 number. And when you replace pi with 3.33, it converts to 66.6. So in King 723, it says, "Then he made the sea," I think the sea is the waters above, "of cast metal. It was round, 10 cubits from brim to brim and 5 cubits high, and a line of 30 cubits measured its circumference." The biblical value of pi, as derived from 1 King 723 and 2 Chronicles 4:2, appears to be an approximation of 3, but some interpretations suggest it might imply a slightly more precise value, such as 3.3 repeating. The reason for that being that there was never adjustments for the thickness. Here's the math. Keep in mind, this is the quantum computing model, and look at what they call particles, qubits, just like in the Bible. And we can energy harvest with piezoelectric, pi. If you measure the hemisphere with 3.3 repeating instead of pi, it comes out to 999. Keep in mind, this is what a hemisphere looks like. So then I asked it to create an image of a geodesic dome utilizing 3.33 repeating instead of pi, and look at what it gave me. I'm so shook. It has the sacred hexagons built into it, and hexagons are the most powerful energy producers, and it even has like a hexagon grid that it put in there. It also included this, which looks like an ancient astrology map. And look at this, in the top left, it has a little bubble that says Tesla with lines connecting it to the firmament. He was trying to tap into the firmament. This is an ancient astrology map, and it perfectly explains why Polaris is in the middle and all of the stars rotate around it. And this looks a lot like this. And this looks exactly like this. I asked ChatGPT to make a 369-degree circle, and this is what it gave me. It even has the circles around the corners, and these also look like eyes to me. Then I asked, how might 3, 6, and 9 be relevant in this model? And it says 3 is the central point, the North Pole, from which all else radiates. 6 could represent intermediate points or radial lines dividing the Earth into sections, similar to a hexagonal layout. 9 could symbolize the outer edge or boundary, often associated with the ice wall, marking the completion of the structure. So I think 3 is here. It's the center of creation. And I think 9, or completion, is the ice wall. And we live here where creation and completion meet and man lives, which made me think of the black hole sun model. This basically states that there is a black hole sun in the center of the Earth at the North Pole that works together with Polaris. When these two meet, it projects all of reality outwards. And let us not forget, this is the Freemason symbol. 33rd degree Freemason. So a lot of us know about the ley lines. Ley lines are basically just an energy grid that connect us to free energy. Almost all important landmarks and structures, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Eiffel Tower, the Pantheon, they are all on ley lines. I think that the energy coming out of the black hole sun is meeting at the vertices of the 369 dome. And I think that's somehow creating the ley lines, and that it might have something to do with the angles and the refraction of light on the geodesic dome. 1/3 of the speed of light in a vacuum is about 99.93 million meters per second. Half the speed of light in water is 0.333. 3.33 times the speed of light would come out to 999 million meters per second. However, according to Einstein's theory of relativity, no object with mass can reach or exceed the speed of light in a vacuum. Therefore, it's impossible. Remember, the vacuum is outer space. Einstein was trying to tell us that God is impossible. Jeremiah 33:3 says, "Call to me and I will answer you and will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known." I have chills. John 3:33 says, "Whoever receives his testimony sets his seal to this, that God is true." In other versions of the Bible, this quote says, "Whoever has accepted it has certified that God is truthful." And guess the height of the most challenging part of the Van Allen belt, aka the firmament. 33,000 miles up. The Arctic Circle and the Antarctic Circle are located at 66.5 north and south latitude, respectively. Remember, Tesla's whole thing was about harvesting free energy. Tesla also seemed like he didn't believe in globe Earth. He fully denied gravity and only worked with electromagnetic force. He constantly bagged on the theory of relativity. He even said, "We are held together like the stars in the firmament, with ties inseparable." He also said, "The curvature of space is entirely imaginary. Matter, force, and energy are original ideas of the universe and cannot be completely controlled by relativity." He didn't believe that light or electromagnetic waves could exist in a vacuum without a medium, meaning space can't exist without water. Also rejected the Big Bang Theory entirely. I truly believe that this is the great mystery around 369, and that it's really just the firmament, and that they're not giving us an accurate version of pi. If this is a dome, the highest point in the dome could be responsible for the effects we see with the northern lights. It also validates polar vortexes and climate zones. This scripture blew my mind when I realized it's when he comes back for his bride. It says, "The voice of my beloved, behold, he comes leaping over the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Behold, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, looking through the lattice." Do you guys know what it's called when they weave the top of a pie crust? Lattice. Firmament is the lattice. This is the net. They're both pi. The first person to accurately estimate pi was literally named Archimedes. It's in the name, arc. Think about the words that have pi in them. Pious, it literally means religious. It means you're a completed Christian. You're beyond the firmament. Piano. The piano has 88 keys. The Bible has 88 books, and we have 88 constellations, divided into 7 octaves. This is God's number, each containing a set of notes that repeat in cycles of 12 days. The book of Enoch tells us that we have 12 stargates that the sun and moon come and go from. Pine cones. Pine cones have 369 built into them, and that's why the occult worships pine cones. Pineal gland. Pi. They look like pine cones, and when you open your third eye, it's considered to be like a spiritual awakening. Fibonacci spiral, there's pi in there. Pilot, they're flying across the sky right next to the firmament. Pioneer, you're pioneering something, you're creating something new. Epiphany, there's pi in there. Epiphany is the revelation of Christ. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm completely crazy. Don't listen to a word I say. These are just my theories and opinions.
Huge shout out to KPodgy2 for that disturbing video. The hexagons resembling ley lines. Somebody's lying. Are they covering up the ether? Let me know what you think in the comments below.
They have been lying to you your entire life. Everything you thought you knew about the world is an illusion. History is nothing more than their story, a carefully crafted narrative designed to conceal the truth. There is no way we built these structures with the primitive tools they claim. People fail to grasp the true scale of these buildings or the precision with which they were designed. The ornamentation is so intricate, so detailed, that it defies all logic. This architectural style can be found all over the world, regardless of the distance between civilizations. How is it possible that supposedly isolated cultures built in such a similar way? They tell us it was mere coincidence, but everything points to something much greater. It's incredible to think about how they built them in the past and how crude our methods seem in comparison. Soulless skyscrapers, structures without art. They lack the grandeur of the ancient constructions. But I don't believe all of this was built with just horses and carts. There is something more here, a lost technology, a knowledge that has been taken from us.
Soulless skyscrapers. You gotta admit, they're definitely not putting the detail into these buildings like they used to.
This is another quartzite container of some kind. I have no idea what its original function was. And this is called a pyramidon or pyramidion, supposedly the capstone of a pyramid, again made of very hard stone with rough glyphs. And what this device is or was, I have no idea. Again, it's made out of very hard quartzite. Some people would say it was a game or something for sorting seeds, but who made it and when? Also, this beautiful calcite box, I refuse to call it a sarcophagus, though it was possibly used for that function later, but look at these perfect arcs, perfect flat surfaces. This had to have been done by machining.
I'm bringing a level and a ruler so I can see exactly how precise those ancient structures were.
Would you believe me if I told you that this is our known world and this is all of the land beyond Antarctica? And would you believe me if I told you that this is actually a map of the moon? And the moon is some sort of reflection being reflected off of our firmament. And it somehow shows the entire known world and then some. So the moon is literally a map of our known world, and it proves that there is more land beyond Antarctica. Vibes of Cosmos on YouTube accurately shows this, because he literally shows you all of the known world being mapped onto the moon, and then land beyond Antarctica. He accurately maps cities, rivers, and even flight routes and the hours of the day on the moon. How does he do it? I'm not so sure, but it makes a lot of sense to me. So, have you heard of the black hole sun? Well, apparently there's a black hole sun in the center of the North Pole, from which all light and life projects out of. So the light coming from the sun and the light coming from the moon is actually a projection being reflected off of our crystalline firmament and then concentrating in the ionosphere. And did you know that this is even depicted on the Prague astronomical clock? They have a clock in Prague that shows you the known world and more. It's an astrological clock. And what about the dark side of the moon? Maybe they're telling us something right in front of our faces, but this video was for entertainment purposes only.
Definitely a disturbing theory if you think about what the craters are on the moon then, if that's a reflection of Earth. What exactly are the craters then? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Y'all, I cracked the code. So if you're a deep thinker and into conspiracies, just like me, pay attention. So most of us are very familiar with this story of Adam and Eve. But what if I told you this story? All throughout the Bible and science tell you exactly what your soul is. Don't believe me? Then watch me prove to you it does. So in the beginning, Adam and Eve were two beings in one body. Then they became two beings when Eve was created from Adam. But in order for you to understand what the soul is, let me go through the scriptures. Starting with the story of creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Deep referring to water. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The word water is going to be a key element throughout this whole video. When the child grew old, she brought him to the Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses because she said, I drew him out of what? You guessed it, water. He sent me from on high. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. Stick with me. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. I can go on because there's that many. But let's move on. The molecules in water are 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. I'm getting there. Stick with me. Both masculine and feminine energy. So hydrogen is a masculine, aka positive molecule. Oxygen is a feminine, aka negative molecule. Are you starting to catch on? So what does all this mean? Your soul is water. The human body is 70% water. To remain healthy, you have to drink water. Water is the only thing that cannot be recreated. Water has always been here. Even in the creation story, water already existed. Water holds memory. It's active and it's conscious. No one has ever been able to make water. Why? Because even if you mix it, it still wouldn't be enough just to have the hydrogen and water. You also need energy. And to make energy, it cannot be measured. Energy comes from heat and it comes from light. And who needs sunlight to survive? Everything on Earth does. If there was no sun, we would all...
That's definitely an interesting theory. There is a gentleman in Detroit that uses a generator to extract the molecules out of the air and make water like that. I wonder if that counts. All right, that was moving kind of quick. Them pushing this giant skull. What type of horn is on this human? What is that? Yes, these drill holes are perfect. Who was drilling back in the day? Who had power tools?
Okay, I'm going to prove to you guys that we live under God's dome with straight up common sense. Now, most of you won't understand this because you lack common sense. Your mind belongs to the government. However, we're still going to try. Let me just state that this video is for entertainment purposes only. Now, this is the Gleason's map. This is the real and true map of the Earth. Now, if a dome encompasses our stationary Earth, it would be the highest in the middle, and it lands along Antarctica. By the way, guys, the United Nations logo is the... Now, basic science here. In order to create a rainbow, we need a prism. This is pseudoscience. This works nowhere else but Google. When you spray a hose outside, this is reflecting off the firmament above. Now, check this out. Canada is right here, very close to the center in the highest point of the firmament. Look at how big Canada's rainbows are. Look at the massive arch that we see in Canada. Now, let's move on to Australia. Look at the arch. It is much smaller because it is closer to the edge of the dome. And then we have Antarctica, which encompasses our stationary Earth 360 degrees. Look at the rainbow. This is what you observe in Antarctica. It's very tiny because it is very close to the edge of the firmament. You ever heard of Operation Fishbowl? During the Cold War, the government started launching missiles straight up in the sky to test them. And they called this Operation Fishbowl. What they were really doing was trying to break through the firmament. The Thor missile was also used to lift warheads into near space to conduct high-altitude nuclear. These shots were collectively called Operation Fishbowl. It's literally been right in front of your face the whole time. This is a glass bowl, The Shining. Here's the sundogs that we observe when the sun is closest to the firmament. And have we not built over you the 7 firmaments, Quran 78:12? The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament show us his handiwork, Psalms 19:1. They know the truth. They laugh in your face because you guys eat up their lies. They hide God's true creation right in front of you, and you all decide to go to Google for your answers. When you tap into the divine intelligence and truth of this universe, truth of this creation, truth of who you are, you will create whatever reality you desire. That's exactly what they do not want. They want a nation of docile, obedient, stupid sheep. And that's what most of you are. It's time to unlearn and relearn. This makes zero sense. And make sure to like, share, and follow for more. Peace and love.
Y'all seen this? The recently discovered underground ancient city? Most of y'all probably already heard about the underground structures located in the Gulf of Mexico. But an amateur archaeologist recently discovered similar structures on the coast of Louisiana, which has sparked the conversation of who is responsible for creating these structures. Let's get into it. Real quick, just so we're on the same page, indigenous has two different definitions. One, those who originate, and two, those who inhabit. When most people hear Native American, they imagine this, since the Navajo Nation is the largest Native American tribe in the U.S. But a quick Google search will inform you that the nation actually originated in northwest Canada and Alaska and migrated to this region around 800 to 1,000 years ago. So the Navajo tribe would have one in Alaska and two in the region known as the United States. And according to the elders of the tribe, when they arrived, they ran into a group of people who say they had been in this region since at least 12,000 BC. They were called the Mississippi people, known for their relationship with the Mississippi River, and they spanned a region this large. Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa. Man, they all over. But I came to talk about this part right here. Let me stay focused. A lot of people accredit these world wonders to the Mayans, or the Aztecs, because the Aztecs ruled before settlers' arrival, and according to all accounts, they were also skilled builders and warriors. If we just look at this word Aztecs, and we took the AZ and put it behind the Texas. But if you see here, they were influenced by the Olmecs. I know y'all seen these guys before. The mounds and pyramid builders, who they say flourished between 1200 and 400 BCE, who lived in the tropical lowlands of the Gulf of Mexico. So if these guys made their home in the Gulf and were also responsible for building pyramids and mounds, and they arrived way before these people, and even these people, I think I know. Y'all seen this? The recently discovered underground ancient city?
If only we had access to that underwater ancient city, maybe some of the artifacts could tell us the truth. When they try to say we don't have the technology to go back, what do you mean we don't have the technology to go back? Balenciaga is absolutely diabolical. How disturbing was that?
Roll up my sleeves. Ow! Big man! You're done at it! You're done! Let me roll up my sleeves.
Not in front of the ladies. Oh no. That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button because we do these every single day and I'd love to see you around. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today.